Hi, it's Rhonda. Welcome back to the Distressed Princess. Today is a challenge day and it's called Twine It Up Thursday. The host is Fanny from Creations by Favi, and her co-host this month is Leonette from DIY Beauty on Purpose. The links for their channels will be in my description box below along with the playlist. These are the DIYs that I'm working on today using twine. I'm starting with a flour sack towel that I got from the Dollar General store, and it was in a pack of 2 for $2, so making them only $1 a piece. Now, if you haven't ever worked with flour sack towels before, they're naturally kind of wrinkly. So if you want, you could iron them, but for some reason, no, not for some reason. For the exact reason that I am terrible at ironing, I chose just to leave mine wrinkled, and I like it that way. And the edges are supposed to be kind of wrinkled, and I think that that adds to the effect that it's an older item. So here I'm just showing you how I intend to have this towel folded up at the end, so that I want to display what I'm putting on it in a pretty way. But you'll just need to have the towel folded in half in order to put the embellishments on it. And the first thing that I'm going to put on is this ribbon from the Dollar General. I've used it in at least one, maybe two projects before, and I cannot say enough good things about this ribbon. It was $2, Dollar General store. I would have bought up a whole case of it if they would have had it. I cut a piece big enough to go across the whole width of the towel and enough to wrap around the back side a little bit. I wish that I would had fabric glue sticks. That's something I haven't tried yet myself, but I really want to. And I think that would have been great for this project, but I didn't have any, and I'm kind of snowed in right now. So yeah. Anyway, I'm using regular glue sticks, and that works great. And as long as they're clear glue sticks, that's important. It's not so much important as you're putting this ribbon down, but later on when we get to the twine part, you'll definitely want it to be a clear kind of glue. If you are a Piper fan, you're going to love this video because he was so curious about what I was doing today. He wanted to lay down like this was his bed, and of course this is a twine video and he's obsessed with string, so he's going to be after the twine later. Before I forget, I want to sincerely thank my hosts, Fanny and Leonette. I love you girls. You guys are awesome, and I want everyone to go and check out your channels, so click the links in my description box. So I wondered if I gave him his very own place to lay, maybe he would lay on something else besides my project. So I had this placemat, and it works for just a little bit. Here is where the twine comes in. And by the way, this is just twine I'm using from the Dollar Tree. I'm not used to calling it twine either. That's what Fanny calls it, so that's what I'm calling it in this video, but to me it's jute string. Anyway, the first flower was a learning process for me, so I'm showing you the second flower that I made, and all I did was I cut 4 pieces, small pieces of the twine, and I'm going to make a loop with each one and hot glue it down. You'll see, it'll make a lot more sense once you see how I've done it, but that was the easiest way for me to do it. You might find an even better way, and that's great. Here is your friendly reminder to use your finger protectors. Mine are from the Dollar Tree, that hot pink thing that I have my finger in. That saves your fingers from the hot glue burns. They're wonderful. It seems for the time being Piper is being good over there on his placemat, but I assure you it doesn't stay that way. And also I need to tell you that when I was making these flowers, I alternated. You notice my hand is kind of in the way, but when I move my hand, you'll see the first flower is a smaller flower. The flower I'm making right now is a larger flower, and the next one down the line will be a smaller, and then a big one and a smaller, until I get all the way across the towel. For the center of the flower, I'm using wood beads, and I alternated a little wood bead for the little flower and a big wood bead for the bigger flower. But I also could imagine a teeny tiny little white pom-pom. If you have those, that would be really cute in the middle too. I think I would have preferred that myself, but I didn't have any. And here is the finished decorative towel. I wouldn't suggest using this towel for an actual kitchen towel. I wouldn't suggest putting this towel in the laundry. It's for decoration purposes only. I cannot guarantee how well all this will hold up. Just put it out for pretty. So I was looking for inspiration on what to make with twine or jute string, and I came across a YouTube channel called Lifestyle Design, and that is where I got this technique that I'm getting ready to show you now. I will leave a link in my description box below to this YouTube channel, and my goodness, if there's anything you ever wanted to do with twine, this lady has done it. So you see I'm using a placemat, that beigey woven kind of placemat, and it came from Hobby Lobby on clearance. It's in the spring shop, but actually it would be better if you had burlap. A nice piece of burlap would be perfect for this project, but I didn't have any, so I'm just using what I have. So you start with a dollop of hot glue, and I'm using 2 rolls of twine at once to wrap a circle and make a little bitty miniature size placemat like what Piper was laying on. This is the very first time I'm ever trying to use this technique, and I think that practice makes perfect with this. It took me a little bit of time, and my hot glue was a little bit kind of all over the place and sloppy, but you can kind of pick that away later. It'll be fine. Trust me, it'll be fine in the end. So you just keep going, wrapping until you have a little teeny tiny round circle about 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter, and you want 5 of those, and then you cut each one of them out. You'll need some clamps, or clothespins might work too, because next you will fold your circles like a taco and put hot glue and pinch the end of it closed, and you'll need that to stay closed while the glue is drying so that it'll hold. And you'll do that with all 5. I realized that the first one I need to go back and kind of open that up because these will be the petals. The next step is to glue the petals to each other, and again you'll need the clamps to clamp them together. Next, you need to cut out a circle from your burlap, or in my case, this placemat. And this circle is to put on the underside of the flower to kind of help hold it all in place and help make it look more like a regular flower. And there was just no keeping Piper away from my project today. Did you see that? Did you see? I'll replay. Swatted that ribbon right off the table with his tail. Then I decided maybe I should do my stem before I put the bottom of the flower on. So I'm using wire that I have had in my stash for ages and ages. I think it came from Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, something like that, and it was inexpensive. It's lasted me forever, and it's what I'm using for a stem for my flower. So I stick it up through the center, and I put a bunch of hot glue in the middle to hold it into place. And then I put a nice big dollop of hot glue on the underside to hold the wire too. Now take the circle that you cut out and poke the wire up through the center of it and bring the circle down around the bottom underside of the flower and hot glue it around into place to hold it all together and look more like a real flower. Next, I used the twine to wrap the wire stem, and this is where Piper just couldn't take it anymore. He had to have that string. And I used hot glue to hold the twine into place at the top and the bottom of the stem. This part is completely optional, but I wanted my flower to have some white to it. So I tried to focus more paint around the edge so the edges would pop and fade in toward the centers. And this is my Waverly white chalk paint from Walmart and the stencil brush from the Dollar Tree. And finally, the last step in making this flower is the cute little center. And I'm using a medium-sized pom-pom out of a bag of pom-poms that I got at the Dollar Tree. And of course, I chose a white one. The last DIY today is using all these items from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to take this bouquet, lay it out on the brown craft paper, and measure to see what size square I need that would cover the bouquet, which I figured the 12 inches was fine. So I cut a 12-inch square out of the brown craft paper. I have to apologize for the pink cord that is showing in the bottom left hand corner of the screen because my phone was dying. I video using my phone and my phone was dying. I had to have it plugged up. Once you have your square cut out, wrapping the flowers is very easy. Just lay the flower in the center diagonal and wrap the paper around. And then secure the back of the paper with hot glue. You could use tape, but I didn't really want tape showing, so I chose just to use hot glue. Also, just because I already had my hot glue out. Next, you will wrap your doily, your paper doily from the Dollar Tree around the center and hot glue into place, and then use your twine to make a pretty decorative bow. To break up all the white in the arrangement, I decided to put some greenery that I had down inside. As I was trying to get my greenery arranged, I realized that my bow kept slipping down, so I went back and hot glued it into place. Isn't that so simple and such a pretty way to display your flowers? And here's a look at all of the projects today. You'll notice in the middle of the basket is a project that you did not see me make today, and that's because that is in a collaboration with some other fine, talented crafters, and that video will be posted on Saturday. So make sure you check back on Saturday and see how I made that decorative block along with a couple other items that you're going to just love. Remember to check out the playlist in my description box and see what everyone else made with their twine. And I'll see you next time. Bye.